burns and scalds. Now, burns are extremely common, they're often very painful, and potentially they can give you life-changing injuries. And burns can also frequently become infected and can result in scarring. Therefore, appropriate first aid must be used to treat any burn or any scald as soon as possible, because this will limit the amount of damage that's done to that person's skin. And don't forget to watch this all the way to the end, so you know how to help somebody if they burn themselves, either in summer or winter. It doesn't matter when or how, just you need to know how to treat them. So watch it all the way to the end, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our important life-saving videos. Now, burns are something that you can come across in many areas of life. And we normally associate burns with fire and cookers, but it could also be caused by the sun or even chemicals. So I want you to picture this, that you're on the beach on a lovely summer's day, whether here in the UK or abroad. And you're laying down on a towel, you're sunbathing, get a bit hot and you decide you want to go for a swim. You've got no shoes on, the sea's not that far away. So you start to walk over to the sea and get yourself in there gently. But on the way there, you start walking a little bit faster because you realise the sand is very hot, and you make those silly noises like ouch, 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 ouch as you run over to the sea. Maybe that's just me that makes the silly noises. Now, that ouch noise, that sensation you feel, is burning, and your feet could be getting first degree, second degree or even third degree burns. Now, these photos are not very nice, just warning you that, but the ones I'm about to show you are from a friend who was on holiday and was laying down in the sunbed, decided he wanted the toilet, didn't put the flip-flops on and walked for about 15 seconds on sand. And this is the result that happened to his feet. He's got second-degree burns. And you might think, how is that even possible? I mean, how hot can sand possibly get? Well, the sand can get up to 80 degrees Celsius. That's very hot. So when the temperature outside is just 26 degrees Celsius, the sand could be over 35 degrees. When it's 30 degrees outside, which here in the UK we even had, but on holiday you'll probably get, the sand could be over 50 to 60 degrees. Hot enough to cause those burns. And in this case, in the country where he was, the sand was a lot hotter than that, about 80 degrees. And the moral of that story is, please always wear footwear when on the beach. Now, how do you treat burns? Now, it doesn't matter what type of burn someone has, there is a general rule for all burns, whether it's from the sand or whether it's from heat or whether it's from sunburn or whether it's from ice, whether it's from a chemical. The treatment is to cool the burn down for at least 20 minutes. Always cool all burns down for 20 minutes. The idea of this is to cool it down, because if we don't cool it down, it's going to carry on burning and causing more harm to that person's skin. So we need to make sure that that skin is fully cooled. Now, you might be in a situation where you haven't got access to running water, and that's actually where a burns kit can come in handy. So maybe you're up a mountain somewhere and you haven't got enough water. Now, burns kits come in lots of different shapes and sizes, but what you find is a burns dressing is a dressing itself that is kind of gel based. So when you open it up, this dressing has got gel, a liquidy thing on there, and you put that straight onto the burn. And what it does, it acts as cooling. And also, they won't stick to the burn, because the big problem with any burn will be clothing or something like that can actually stick onto the burn, making it worse. And if you then pull that clothing off, well, you can make that a lot worse, as you imagine you're taking skin off as well. Now, burns dressings are... Now, please know that even though burns dressing do exist, it is much better to run a burn under cool water for at least 20 minutes. If you don't have access to cool water, then the next best treatment would be to use a burns dressing. But water is the preferred method. Now, the other big problem with burns is infections, because with a burn, the skin has been removed, especially when you've got second degree, third degree burns. Therefore, the barrier that's protecting the flesh underneath has been taken off. So it's important to try and keep a burn very, very clean. Now, this is a photo of the same burn I showed you earlier that happened on the beach. And this is about 3 weeks later when the burn wasn't kept clean and infection got in. So it's really, really important to keep a burn clean. And the way we keep a burn clean is by using something like cling film. Now, when using a cling film on a burn, it's really important not to wrap it really tight. We just loosely layer it over, like I'm showing you here in this video. So loosely layer it over, because the cling film is not going to stick. Because like standard dressings, they're going to stick and they can make it worse. Also, the good thing about cling film is the person, when you go to hospital, they can actually see through. They don't need to remove it, which could also be very painful and cause more damage. So we cool the burn down for 20 minutes, and if we've taken a layer of skin off, we must cover it with a layer of cling film to protect it. And if in doubt, we'd always seek medical help. And we also judge the severity of a burn by an acronym called Scald. The size of it, the cause of it, the age of the person, the location, and the depth of the burn. So the bigger the burn is, the worse it's going to be. The size of the burn is typically the rule of nines. The body is then divided up. So roughly speaking, the size of the hand is 1% of the skin surface area. The head is 9%. The front of the body is 18. The back is 18. Each leg is 18%, and arms are 9%. So what we're dealing with is giving you a rough idea of how bad the burn is and whether we need to turn to the emergency services for help. And also we can give a better indication when the emergency services arrive about how severe the burn is. The cause of it, well, it tends to be electrical burns are more serious because you've got 2 burn sites. The age of the person. If someone is old or young, the skin tends to be much thinner and therefore more prone to having a severe burn. Also, the location. It may be, there's certain areas of the body have been burnt that be more important. For example, around the respiratory system, because that's going to give you a major problem in breathing. And there's different levels of burns. I've talked about 1st degree, 2nd degree, and 3rd degree. But in first aid terms, we tend to call it superficial, partial, and full thickness burns. So 1st degree and superficial burns are just like a discoloration of the skin. Whereas a partial thickness or 2nd degree burn is where it starts to blister and the blister may burst. And then we've got the full thickness or 3rd degree burns, and this is where the burn has gone straight through the layers of all the skin. Now these can sometimes be really painful, but other times not, because all the nerve endings have actually been removed. But you could also get a mixture of a 1st degree, 2nd degree and a 3rd degree burns. So you might have a full thickness burn in the middle, and then it goes out to superficial around the outside. So please, just remember, keep safe around fire. That's a most obvious type of burn. But also remember that burns can occur just on a hot surface as well, such as walking on sand. And if you've got burn, treat them seriously. Remember the acronym SCALD. Size, cause, age, location, and depth. That's how you know how serious it is as well. And treat it. Cool every burn down for at least 20 minutes. You might need to do it for a lot longer. If you're taking a layer of skin off, then you must make sure you protect the bit that's underneath, the new flesh, with something like cling film loosely wrapped. And seek medical help if the burn is on a child or baby. If the burn is bigger than 1% of the casualty's skin surface area, i.e. the palm of their hand. If the burn is a full thickness burn. If the burn goes around a whole body part. And if you're concerned about the burn. And I'd always go and seek medical advice as well if the burn is on anyone's head, hands, feet and genitals, because these are important bits of our body. So if in doubt, seek medical help. And finally, please remember, do not put anything other than water on a burn. Cool water. Do not put creams or ointments on a burn. Do not touch the burn or burst the blister, and do not remove any clothing that's stuck to the burn. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our important life-saving videos. Cheers for listening, guys. Take care, keep well.